Hello everyone, Niev here, and today I am doing a tarot tag. I believe this is called hashtag Beetlejuice Tarot Tag, and I think it was by Robin's Reflections. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so I really didn't have a video for today because I try to upload on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and this day was just like blank on my calendar. And so I had nothing for this, and I had no idea what I was going to do. And kind of last minute, I was just browsing through YouTube, and I was like, I could probably do a tarot tag, and what's going to come up for that? And this is a pretty recent one. I think it was only about 2 weeks ago that it came out. So yeah, and I thought it seemed fun, and I could quickly grab a few decks, and we'll have a video out. So I'm filming this on the day that it's going out, which is very unusual. Normally I film well in advance, but yeah, so I'm filming it now. That means it's probably not going to be up until like tonight, but I'm gonna get it up. Okay, so yeah, so hashtag Beetlejuice Tarot Tag, and so I have not seen the new Beetlejuice. I love the old one. I don't know, I don't really have plans to see the new one. I'm kind of half interested, but we'll see how it goes. So the first prompt is, it's showtime. A deck that feels cinematic. Now, I did just grab all these decks like very quickly, so if I had more time to think about this, maybe I would pick different decks, but I'm pretty happy with what I picked. So let's go with this. All right, so a deck that feels cinematic. I chose my Citadel, not Tarot, Citadel Oracle deck. I think it's just called the Citadel deck. So let me pull this out. Here's the book for it. Here we go. Yeah, so I picked this because it was just it was kind of it's kind of its own world, you know what I mean? Like and I think there's a whole like campaign that you can do with this deck, like a role-playing game campaign, which is really cool. I also have the add-on deck, the deck of emblems. I'm sorry, my brain's not totally here yet. Yeah, so and I don't know, there's something about this that feels very much like, you know, it's its own world, you know, and so there's something cinematic about that, you know. I almost picked like my Star Trek tarot, the independent version, the original series one, not the Inside Editions deck. But I don't know. I feel like I've talked about that deck a lot lately, and I haven't really talked a lot about the Citadel deck. Now I have used this year. Whoops. Just threw the card. I have used this year. I think it was August that I used this deck. And I did enjoy it. I like this deck. I'd like to use it more. But yeah. But it is really, really cool. I'm not doing a very good job like putting these cards down. I keep like throwing them every which way, but but yeah, I don't know. It's a cool deck. It feels very cinematic, like it's got its own world. It's the world building in this is really neat and cool, and I don't know. So that's what I chose. I chose the Citadel deck for the it's showtime, a deck that feels cinematic. Okay, so the next prompt is I'm the ghost with the most, and it's a ghoulish deck, and I really copped out on this one. And I have the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. I know, it's a total cop-out. I'm aware of this. It's just, you know, it's what came to mind when I was going around my decks and trying to figure out what decks I wanted to pair with each of these tags. I mean, this is really on the nose here. It's a deck all about ghost stories, legends about spirits, things like that. It is a very spooky deck, and it feels very winter to me. Like, this is not a deck that feels like Halloween, even though you'd think it would be because it's all about spooky ghosts and spirits. But the coloring of this deck, even the backs, the fronts, like I really dislike that the backs are white and the fronts have this like beigey color, and I'm not focused here. Here we go. Yeah, I dislike. And maybe if the ghosts were a bit more beigey too, I think it would go better, but the backs and the fronts don't really go with each other. That said, the coloring on the fronts and the backs are all very like bluish, and even the cards like this that aren't really blue, it just kind of feels blue, you know what I mean? Which feels very winter to me. And the bag that I made for it ages and ages ago, this is an old bag. Like I even went with more wintry type colors here. Like these, this is a skull with like a mane of hair, so like a whole bunch of hair here. But it's like a dead woman is basically what this is. And yeah, and I went with the silver and like this bluey, they're not snowflakes, but from a distance they kind of look like snowflakes. So this deck, it does feel very, very winter to me. And yeah, I know it's a bit of a cop-out for this prompt, but it is what it is. And that is my pick for I'm the Ghost with the Most, a ghoulish deck. That is the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. Okay, so the next prompt, this took me a moment. I was going to go with one deck, but then as soon as I saw this one, I was like, this is the one to go. So the prompt is, I myself am strange and unusual, and this is a deck that is weird and lovable. And I went with the Art of Adventure Tarot. And, yeah, I almost picked the Zeke's Arcana, but again, I feel like I've talked about that one fairly recently, and I just didn't want to be too redundant. And it's been a hot minute since I've done this deck, and quite frankly, I feel like it fits the tag a little bit better anyway. So, yeah, so this is a really neat deck. I kind of got it thinking it would just be a fun, playful deck sort of thing. It's a little silly, a little bonkers, very cartoony, that sort of thing. But it's actually really smartly done. You know, it's super, super weird. I mean, we've got like these are the different body parts on the swords for the three of swords here, and the like limbs are separated from the body and lots of these things. I mean, it's a super weird deck, but like it really does make sense, and a lot of the weirdness of it actually does make sense. Like, you know, we have the Ace of Swords here, and I mean, I don't know, there's just a lot you can really read into these cards. So it just turned out to be a lot more, have a lot more depth than I initially thought. Like, look at this Lover's card. I mean, they're really, like, talk about intertwined here. Like, they're really, really intertwined. And, of course, it's very reminiscent of the Devil card, too, which those two cards are connected. And it's just, it almost feels like in this way, it could go either way. Like, it's a strong, bonded partnership, like, really bonded, really twisted together like this, but there's something almost looming about this figure, and it does call to the Devil card. And yeah, it's just the imagery of this is very, very interesting. You know, and it's weird, it's strange, it's cute, it's lovable. Look at this Ace of Wands. I mean, like, really. And to me, it's showing like the movement action of the wands, because we have the foot here. Like, it's we've got the hand holding the wand, but you know, it's showing movement, which is kind of the meaning of this card, and like passion going forward, and things happening. Like, the wands in general are movement cards to me. So I don't know, I'm saying a lot of the same things over again, but like, yeah, it's just a really neat deck, and I really like it. And I have not used it very much this year. Oh, the Judgment card is very similar to that Lover's card too. I wonder, where is the Devil card? Oh, look at this Two of Pentacles. That's really neat. The Ace of Cups. Like, I don't know, I like this. You know? And look at all of this, the Five of Swords. I mean, I think that's perfect for the Five of Swords. I just want to see if I can find the Devil card, because yeah, and seeing if that's similar to, because I can't quite remember. I haven't really used this deck this year too much. I really should remedy that, though. But it is a really, really neat deck. And oh, here's the Devil card. I mean, we're back to the couple, and they're not intertwined anymore with each other. It's almost like they're disconnected, but they're still bonded together, you know? And I don't know. To me, there's a lot to read into that. So I don't know. It's a cool deck, and that is my pick for I myself am strange and unusual, a weird but lovable deck, and that is the Art of Adventure Tarot. Okay, so the next deck this is also a little bit of a cop-out. So the prompt is my whole life is a dark room, and it's basically a photographic deck, or a deck that feels like it's photographic. Yeah, so I basically chose the only real deck that I have that's photographic, and that is the Relative Tarot. And I also have the Beloved Dead Oracle, which kind of goes with this, but I'm just pulling out the Relative Tarot here. Yeah, so this is my primary ancestor deck, which, you know, it makes sense. It's, and I do love the art on this. Like, it's fantastic. The combination of these photographs, let me focus. Come on. These famous photographs of people that, and then combined with tarot imagery. I don't know. It's very well done. I like it a lot, and it's a really good deck for ancestor work. Yeah, so to me, this is a little bit of a cop-out. I feel like I could have tried to pick something better or different, you know, I mean, because this obviously just totally fits the prompt. It is what it is. But you know what I would really like to get? I would really like to get the Somnia Tarot. Yeah. But I also feel like I haven't watched anyone else's videos on this, I don't think. I think it was just Robin's that I watched. But I feel like a lot of people would probably pick the Somnia Tarot for this. But I don't know. So I don't know if that would have been too cliche, or this is too cliche. I don't know. But it's a cool deck. It's really neat. I love the pentacles. Yeah. I really like the pentacles suit in this deck too. I like this. I don't know, the combinations of the photographs with the tarot imagery is really, really cool. Yeah, I really should pull this deck out more. I did a lot of ancestor work in like the first half of the year, and then it just sort of fell by the wayside, and I didn't pick it back up yet. So I gotta try to figure out what kind of ancestor practice I want to do in 2025. All right, so anyway, so that is we'll leave it on this. We'll leave it on this one. That is the My Whole Life is a Dark Room, a photographic deck, and that is the Relative Tarot. Okay, so the next deck is oh, Nice Fucking Model. A deck that shines in the details. So a deck with a lot of details. And I was really not sure. Like, this, I think, was the hardest one for me to pick. And I just ended up, I was like, oh, you know, what about this one? Because this one is just has a lot of detail. And that is the Cyberpunk. Oh my gosh, that's not the name of it. The Eldritch Overload tarot deck, which is a cyberpunk tarot, and I constantly call it the Cyberpunk Tarot. But yeah, it is the Eldritch Overload tarot, and it's kind of a combination of like cyberpunk and, you know, Eldritch, you know, the my words are not here, but anyway, I'll just look at the cards instead of trying to talk. All right, so this deck is like, talk about detail. There's almost too much detail, and you know, I could have even grabbed the Shadowscapes Tarot for this too, because that's also a deck that has like massive amounts of detail in it, and it's like these kind of decks that you just like, you almost want to like bring it up close and just look at all the little details in the card. Some of them are pretty straightforward, and other ones just, I don't know, they have a lot of detail here, and there's a lot to kind of get out of these. I love this deck, like, aesthetically. It hasn't been the most intuitive reader for me. I feel like this is the kind of deck that at some point I need to do a bit more of a deep dive into this. Oh, look at the little guy right here. This is the 10 of potions. It's the 10 of cups. And it's almost like it's an illusion. So it almost feels 5 of pentacles to me. It's like this, I don't know what this creature is. Some sort of goblin or something over here is out in the, it feels like it's out in the cold or, you know, and then that's a window. But I think this is some sort of view screen or a projection of a happy life or something like that. So that's an interesting take on the 10 of Cups, which is generally a very, very positive card. So that's kind of what I mean with this deck. It's like there's so much going on with it. Almost too much, but because of that, it feels like something that I just need to have. I need to find some sort of time to do a deep dive of this deck and to really get to know each of these cards. Because, I mean, look at this. Yeah, and then there's cards that feel very, oh, look at all of that. That's so much detail. Look at that. So much to read into this. That's the Devil card. Yeah. I don't know what I was about to say, but there's cards in this deck that are very poignant on, you know, social issues even. And which makes sense because when we're talking about sci-fi themes, fantasy, sci-fi, yeah, I think fantasy was the word I was looking for when I was trying to describe this deck. It's a mix of fantasy and sci-fi. When you have those sorts of themes, there's a lot of, you know, representing our real world and the social issues, economic issues, things like that in our real world in a fantasy / sci-fi sort of setting. So, like, I feel there's one card that's, I feel like it's maybe my favorite in this deck. And it's just because it's so poignant. Look at that tower. That's really cool. Let me see. Oh, here's, this one's really, really good. The Judgment card, where it's this person up here ranting, keep humans pure. So that it's very, like, racist. And we get that sort of feeling here. And then there was one with a police figure that was very poignant. I'm sure I bet it's like the last one. Here it is, finally, the Death card. And we've got this, like, robot, unfeeling police officer that, like, I mean, what a dark card this is. And it's hard to, like, I don't want to call this, like, my favorite card in the deck, but it's definitely the card that gives me a you know, that feeling. I don't know how to describe that. But yeah, so that is my pick for the Nice Fucking Model, a deck that shines in the details, and that is the Eldritch Overload Tarot, which I keep wanting to call the Cyberpunk Tarot. So for the next one, I picked out 2 decks, and it's the I Don't Think We Survived That Crash, and it's a deck that brings out the harsh truths. And I thought what would fit best for this were decks that I use with deities, because I feel like, you know, my relationships with my deities are ones that are quite, I don't want to say harsh, but like they're truthful. They're very honest, you know, and yeah, so I have the Crow Tarot here, which I can quickly flip through, and I primarily use this deck with on Morrigan. Well, I mean, I only use this deck with on Morrigan. This deck is specifically dedicated to her in my collection. So I only use this deck with on Morrigan. I can use other decks with her, but this deck I only use with on Morrigan. So yeah, and I have definitely gotten some harsh messages from this, some like, you know, get your head out of your ass sort of things from this deck, and it's very much on Morrigan for me. So yeah, and I'm not going to spend too much longer on that, but I actually thought maybe this one fit a little bit more, and this is the Anima Mundi Tarot, and this is a deck that I don't have this deck dedicated to any deity, but I do use this deck primarily as a full moon reader. Get that deck out of the way. I use this deck on the full moon, and I feel like this deck is mostly tied to the, oops, I have this upside down. Okay, the Irish goddess Breach. Yeah, here we go. And yeah, so I picked this because I have an interesting relationship with this particular goddess. I don't know. I feel like I definitely honor Breach, but I feel like I'm not honoring her in the way that she would like to be honored. You know what I mean? So I feel like I get a lot of attitude from this deck because I feel like Breach has a lot of attitude toward me. What an amazing card. It's the only human in the deck, and it's the devil, and I like that. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, the harshness that I get from this deck is really coming from Breach, and yeah, it's sort of that fostering a relationship with a deity, and trying to live up to what their demands are versus what I want to do, or where I'm being pulled to, or something like that. And it's one of those things that I would like to explore a bit more, and maybe get on better terms with Breach. Yeah, I feel like I kind of piss her off, you know what I mean? And I feel like it's reflected in the cards. Like, I often get a lot of the harsher cards in this deck, like the Tower or the Nine of Swords, or, you know, the Swords cards in general. Yeah. So, but it's a really, really beautiful deck, and yeah, it's just a little harsh for me sometimes. All right, so those are my picks for I Don't Think We Survived That Crash, decks that give hard truths. And I chose the Crow Tarot for on Morrigan, and the Anima Mundi Tarot for Breach. Okay, so the final one is you let Beetlejuice out and didn't put him back in. So a deck that can get a little out of pocket sometimes. And oh gosh, I did not have a single deck for this, but I thought in general this whole concept seemed to fit basically any of my Lenormand decks. And this is not a Lenormand deck, but I use it like a Lenormand. So any of my decks that are used in this sort of manner, so like with Lenormand, it's very punchy. This is my Bitmoji Lenormand. Let me get the extra cards off of here. All right, extra cards. So, I mean, it's a bit, I mean, this is very cutesy, but, you know, this is my main personal Lenormand. It's my Bitmoji because that's my character. The man and woman card in here is myself and my husband, like literally us. So, I mean, I don't know. Lenormand in general, and these sorts of systems that they could have also been harsh truth decks, but I don't know. I feel like it's not so much giving the harsh truth as it's just giving the truth, and you know what I mean. And I don't know, because Lenormand, there's my significator card, because Lenormand can be so punchy, and here's my husband without the beard because there was no beard option, but because Lenormand can be so punchy and so just direct, I don't know, sometimes it feels like it can get out of pocket. You know, like Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And with that sort of energy, I also pulled out the other deck here. Let me get this one out of the way. So the other deck is the Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle. And so this is not a Lenormand deck, but I use it like it's a Lenormand deck. It has 88 cards, and a Lenormand has 36, of course. So there's way a lot of cards in here. There's a lot of cards in this deck, but I don't know, the way that this deck reads, and let me probably zoom in. Oh, I can't zoom in. Okay. The way this deck kind of reads is like a Lenormand to me. I think maybe we'll just do a line of cards like that. So yeah, so what I want to do in 2025, I do kind of want to do a series where I'm just going through all of the cards in this deck and giving my own like instinctive keyword for each of these cards. And because this is a deck where like it did come with a pamphlet that has some suggested meanings for the cards, but they really the instructions really recommend that you kind of come up with your own, and that's kind of how I've been reading it. And things can get bonkers in this. I mean, we've got blood, we've got hag, we've got the devil. Like, things can get a little weird with this, and we're trying to connect it to like everyday stuff, and that's kind of how I use it. I use it as like a quick answer. I mean, we've got a fetus card here. You know? As a quick answer sort of thing, and because it's so weird and unusual, like it's though it can get totally out of pocket with like it's the stuff that comes up. I mean, this is an umbrella that's blocking the blood. Really, you know, I mean, I don't know, it just feels it feels like a deck that just naturally is out of pocket. And it's the Secret Pocket Oracle, so maybe that's the other reason why I picked this deck, because it's got pocket in the name. You know, so anyway, so that's my picks for You Let Beetlejuice Out, and didn't put them back in a deck that can get a little out of pocket sometimes. So I chose basically any of my Lenormand decks fit this category, and probably more specifically the Mildred Payne's Secret Pocket Oracle. So that is that one. All right, there we go. All right, so these were all of my decks for this prompt. Oh, you know what? I did a fun little like Beetlejuice filter thing on TikTok. Maybe I'll plug that in real quick and show the funny little filter that the Beetlejuice filter I just did. It was a few weeks ago, but anyway. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I am going to go quickly edit this video and try to get it up on my channel ASAP. Thank you, Robin, for making this tag, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!